Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with a book tag. This is not one of the, it's not going to be a foodie book tag, which I plan to release sometime in the next week or so, but I'm doing something a bit more musical in observance of the great Freddie Mercury's, what would have been his 70th birthday on Monday, September 5th. It's pretty much a giveaway to the fact that this is going to be the Queen book tag. This is going to be Freddie's 70th version because there is an existing Queen book tag which I'll leave down below, which was put together by a Polish booktuber. And I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I thought I would share the way that I approach the questions and how I would design them. And so I thought I would share my answers with you today. Alrighty, let's get started. The first song is Bohemian Rhapsody, which is perhaps their great magnum opus, and I was looking at a list of the greatest British songs of all time, and I think it was put together in Britain because somebody can approach the particular title from any given country. But they had Bohemian Rhapsody as number one, and it definitely is a brilliant song. But what I have for this song is a work that you feel successfully tells the story from multiple points of view, just like this particular song does with its operatic arrangement. And for that I chose my all-time favorite novel, at least that's been the case for the last 6 years. That's Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. This particular novel tells the story through the point of view of Charlie, through his journal entries, and it shows from the beginning how he starts out as being mentally challenged, and as you see the story go on and read through his journal entries, you begin to see the improvement that Charlie makes through through the procedure. And it's also told through the point of view of an overseeing narrator who clarifies all of the loose ends and the blank areas that Charlie did not necessarily mention in his journal. And I really like the way that that was put together. Next one is We Will Rock You / We Are the Champions, which I'm doing this because both songs are frequently performed together, whether it be by Queen or by someone who's covering the songs. And that is a work, series, or author you follow and support the way a sports fan supports their favorite team. And for me, I support anybody that is an outstanding writer. And I especially like to support authors that are lesser known but possess such great quality in their writing. I feel that most authors in the industry write because they love to write. And I especially feel that everybody should have that great opportunity. The one that I'm going to talk a little bit about today are the Rabbi Aviva Cohen series and Talk Dirty Yiddish by Eileen Schneider. She happens to be Ari's mom, and she's going to be releasing an individual video on her channel at the end of the month. But I really enjoy Hanukkah Guilt, Unleavened Dead, and Talk Dirty Yiddish. This is a pretty much a dictionary of different Yiddish terms, many of which you're not going to find in the traditional dictionary just because of their nature. But Hanukkah Guilt and Unleavened Dead follow Rabbi Aviva Cohen as she solves these really intense mysteries, many of which are murders. But the Rabbi Cohen series does such an outstanding job combining lighthearted humor with an intense mystery and also a taste of Jewish traditions and customs. Next one is Don't Stop Me Now, a work you could not put down. And for that, I chose Farewell Summer by Ray Bradbury. This was the sequel to Dandelion Wine, and I breezed right through this and finished it in one day. It was a little over 200 pages, but it was so light and, but at the same time, captured the essence that is a very well put together Ray Bradbury novel. He is just excellent painting a picture of a summer season during the period of time that he grew up. And it's just so amazing. And this was released more than 50 years after, but it takes place during the same summer that Dandelion Wine took place. Next one is Killer Queen, a dominant or badass female character. And for that I chose Lisbeth Salander from the Millennium Trilogy. She was in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Girl Who Played with Fire, The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, and the recently released The Girl in the Spider's Web. And Lisbeth is a computer hacker who engages in projects that serve purposes of hers. And in this particular case, in the first novel, she's helping out journalist Mikhail Blomkvist, who is looking to solve a mystery involving a family. And it's quite interesting the way that Lisbeth is intellectually brilliant, and especially how she takes down her rapist of a guardian who he requires that in exchange for money that she provide him with sexual favors. Jorman, who is that guardian, is just he's just a disgusting piece of scum. And Lisbeth is antisocial. Blomkvist thinks that she has Asperger's. And she's just very well, she stands her ground, I would say. And I really enjoy the way that she is developed and makes for a really great series. Especially the Millennium Trilogy. Next one is A Crazy Little Thing Called Love, a work that includes a ridiculous and/or forced relationship. And for that, I chose Katniss and Peeta from the Hunger Games trilogy, Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. Katniss and Peeta, while they're from the same district, they come from two different backgrounds. Katniss is the breadwinner for her household. Her father was killed, and her mother lost her mind to the point that she cannot fetch for herself or for her daughters. So Katniss, the oldest daughter, has to fetch for her mother and for her younger sister Prim, and also support them at the house as well, while the world is on her shoulders. Peter, on the other hand, he comes from a family. His father's a baker, and it seems like Peter really doesn't have to do as much. He doesn't have to fetch for himself in the way that Katniss does, and it definitely reflects in during the battles, because I found that Peeta was whiny, wussy, didn't have any fortitude. I think that Katniss Katniss should have not even wasted her time with him. And the fact that they were put together in the first place, which Peeta wanted separate training. He didn't want anything to do with her at one point in the story because of the way that she presented herself. I think that putting the two of them together was very much, it was forced in that way that many of the things in the trilogy were. I think that in so many cases, they were trying to make it so that this would be presentable for a movie franchise, which I can't stand when writers write with the main goal that a movie's going to be made out of it, and that it's going to become and that they're aiming for that box office. Might as well become a box office director. But nevertheless, I did like the first book, The Hunger Games. I thought that this was a really intriguing 5-star read. Catching Fire and Mockingjay, not so much. Next one is Under Pressure, a work you were pressured to read. And for that, and the way that this question can be seen, whether it was school, Booktube, or just your peers in general. And for that, I chose The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. During my junior year of college, I was just becoming acquainted with the English department and with the English Honor Society, Sigma Tau Delta, which I would become the president for the next semester for my senior year. Everybody was talking about The Fault in Our Stars and how much it resonated with them. They felt really, they really adored this, and I picked this up and read this, and I finished the last 150 pages in one sitting. It was quite a remarkable, a poignant work, and I think that it's really it does an outstanding job relating to its target audience. Next one is I Want to Break Free, a pioneering feminist work. For that I chose the ultimate pioneer, and that's the complete poems of Sappho. Sappho is the original female voice in literature, and what she has to say is quite remarkable in how she really lays out the groundwork for humanism in general, and how we are all individuals that are entitled to love and to a pleasant life. Next one is Radio Gaga, a dystopian work that makes you uneasy because you feel its predictions are or will be correct. And for that, I chose The Giver by Lois Lowry. Some of these predictions, whether it be sameness, the government choosing what you do with your life, the fact that you take medication to dictate the choices that you make, the idea that things are so forced together in this very narrow routine, the fact that there cannot be good or bad, positive or negative, because you don't want to hurt or help anyone more so than the next person. It's really stuck in my mind, this particular novel, and I feel that it should be seen as a bit of a warning for its elements that we don't want to incorporate into our future. Life presents so many great things, and to have that taken away because there are things that are treacherous and hurtful, you just have to target the things that are negative and find ways to prevent these negative things from happening as much as possible. The next one is I Want It All. An author or collection of books that you want to own in its entirety. And I'm going to be doing a collection, and this particular collection right now that I want to own everything from is the Faber New Poets collection. These are just pamphlets of about 20 pages, but I'm really intrigued to learn about up-and-coming poets and what poetry has to offer, or just literature in general. I like to learn about new writers, and if I really enjoy something that they've written, I want to tell the whole world that they should definitely check out this particular writer and their work. I currently have 10 out of 16 of these, and there's about 20 pages worth of poems in here. And it gives you a taste of what each of these British poets has to offer. I found out about this from Jean from Jean Bookish Thoughts, so thank you, Jean. Your suggestions have added to my collection even more, and I plan to extend this collection when the next 4 pamphlets come out next year, because every year there are 4 new of these collections that are released. The next one is innuendo. The most suggestive line in literature, just like an innuendo. And for that, I chose an entire poem, and this poem happens to be The Vine by Robert Herrick. And I will read you the first 2 lines. I dream this mortal part of mine was metamorphosed to a vine. This is a pretty suggestively dirty work of literature, and some would argue that it's also a misogynistic work of literature, because it's pretty obvious that the way that the words are arranged, the subject in this work is a male who's fantasizing that his penis becomes vine-like to the point that he is physically controlling a delicate, inferior female subject, which the entire poem reflects this idea, and it definitely, to me, is it's probably the most evident use of an innuendo. The next one is I'm Going Slightly Mad, which is not just an underrated song, but also an underrated video. It was one of Freddie Mercury's last videos, and at this point in time he was so ill that they decided to film it in black and white so that it took a bit away from the illness at hand. But the question I have for this is a work you enjoy for its eccentricity. And for that, I chose Dr. Rat by William Kotzwinkle. This is one of the most mad, out of the ordinary, but at the same time thought-provoking novels that I have read. It's pretty much Animal Farm in a laboratory. It explores the animal experimentation and how the animals choose to revolt against the humans because they are tired of their harmful experiments. And the only creature that possesses empathy for the humans is the title character, Dr. Rat, who uses jingles to express his thoughts and how they are meant to serve humanity. Next one is The Show Must Go On, a work you enjoyed that was posthumously released. And for that, I chose something that I talked about earlier, and that was the Millennium Trilogy by Stieg Larsson. Stieg Larsson wrote the first three novels, and part of what would have been a fourth novel. His intention was to create a series of 10 novels, but he was climbing up flights of stairs and ended up becoming exhausted and took a heart attack, and it killed him, which he died before his series was released, let alone silver acclaim, and it has only begun to grow and grow. Larsson was a Swedish writer, but his trilogy has gone beyond Sweden. It became prominent in America. It was a mainstay on the New York Times bestseller list, and even went to the point where there wasn't only the Swedish adaptation, but the first novel, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, was adapted into a film as well in America. Next one is Playlist. What are your favorite Queen songs? For me, it all depends on my mood, but the ones that I'm going to say are my favorite at this point in time would be Bohemian Rhapsody, We Will Rock You, Don't Stop Me Now, Innuendo, I'm Going Slightly Mad, and The Show Must Go On would be my 6 favorites. And finally, Somebody to Love. Who do you tag? Already, I'm going to start with Adrian and Dalton from Strip Covered Lit. They too mentioned I'm Going Slightly Mad on their in their video where they discussed I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. So, taking it you're Queen fans as well, and I hope you do this tag. Alyssa from Sushi Dragon Master. Amy from the Dusty Bookshelf. Stephanie from Little Paper Hands. I'm pretty intrigued to see what you come up with. Allison from Hardback Order. Steve from Steve Donahue, because he would be pretty upset if I didn't tag him. Peter from Peter Likes Books. Anyone and everyone from Betwixt the Books. Ellie from Ellie Jane. Amy, Renee, and Ivy from Bedtime Book Club. And somebody that's going to be joining the Literary Gladiators community this upcoming season, Austin, who my fellow assistant producer Kelsey told me that you are a fan of Queen, so I encourage you to do this particular tag. Thank you for tuning in to this video, and I hope that you continue to listen to the great music that Queen has put together. And I hope you check out the many videos that we have to offer. And as always, I encourage you to keep reading.